Well, let's begin by queering up politics. Hamburger Mary's drag debate to discuss the most ridiculous Republican candidate for president. RonDeSantis tried to silence drag queens. Yesterday, they were speaking out against him at the biggest event of his struggling campaign. The first primary debate between Republican candidates for president was on Wednesday. While the candidates, including Florida's governor, met in Wisconsin, Wilton Manors became home of the resistance. Hamburger Mary's with Disney defenders presented drag queens like Christine Christie, Donna Trump, Rhonda Santis, and Michelle Pence, who took the stage at Mary's and debated which candidate is the most ridiculous. It was a tough challenge. While all the Republican candidates on the stage promoted their bona fides on restricting women's health and punching down on the LGBTQ+ community, especially LGBTQ+Youth, one candidate drew the ire of the drag queens more than most, DeSantis. He's the one that got the ball rolling on drag queens. Last year, he used a regulatory body to intimidate venues into not booking drag entertainment. This year, the legislature put in place a very restrictive law on live drag, which has since been put on hold by a judge. Last night, the very entertainers he targeted were ready to lambaste him. Hey everybody, John Hayden from out South Florida, and we are at the drag debate where all the GOP candidates just got dragged before their first Hunger Games style debate. And I'm going to let the candidates introduce themselves.
I am Rhonda Santis.
I am Michelle Pence.
I am Christine Christie.
And I am Donna Trump.
Okay, so there were two questions that we needed to answer, and I will ask the first one. Who is the most dangerous candidate on the debate stage tonight?
Has to be Ron.
It has to be Ron.
It has to be Ron. RonDeSantis.
Real Floridian, you understand.
All across the board.
Okay, why is he dangerous?
Well, first off, we are all drag entertainers here. Ron is dangerous because he is threatening drag queens. He's threatening our existence, he's threatening our job, and he's threatening our ability to be who we are. That's very dangerous.
Why is Donald Trump dangerous?
Because he just don't let you be you. He's blocking trends. It's in every community, from in school, from teachers, from kids to adults. You just can't be yourself anymore. That's the problem.
The second one is, who is the most ridiculous candidate? Now you've got Donald Trump, who has orange skin and very tiny hands, and you've got Ron DeSantis, who lives under a rock, but in fairness, it's the same rock that most of the GOP lives under.
This is true.
So who is the most ridiculous?
I go for put fingers. Put fingers. That's Ron.
Ron.
I still go for Ron.
Ron. I say both, but Ron. Ron, you can go to hell.
Okay, so the vote is unanimous. It's Ron DeSantis, and let's make the vote unanimous that he's not going to get elected. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. All right, nice job tonight.
Likewise.
You know, that was a really fun night. It was a very serious cause, but it was really fun because they were up there, and before the debate started, all four queens were discussing real talking points. They weren't there just to mock the candidates. They talked about how every person up on that stage, at a minimum, is indifferent. The best we're going to get is indifference, and that's maybe from Chris Christie. Mm-hmm. All the others are hostile to our community, and they went point by point by point to show how our votes do matter and how everything can come to pass if we don't get out and vote. But I'll tell you, I had a lot of fun making that video last night because you could feel the energy in the room and you could feel the passion from all four of them around me. So I appreciate what they did, and I was there for Out South Florida. My column on the event is online at outsfl.com, and you can also check out the video there once again.
I think this is great. I feel like we should have done this sooner. I think, when they had the whole holder ban on drag queens, I think we should have done exactly this and made fun of everyone that we could, because we didn't protest in any other way. But I think this is kind of a safe way to do that and kind of bring a crowd in to kind of make people realize how ridiculous this all is.
Yeah.
Can we vote for these drag queens?
Yes.
We can vote for these drag queens?
We can write them in. we can email Hamburger Marys and say, please bring them back.
Didn't they win a lawsuit against DeSantis? Hamburger Mary's is the organization, right?
The Orlando location.
Right.
Yeah.
And
it's a great place to have that whole drag debate, considering that business really took a chance and stepped out and put themselves in the firing line, because these people are I don't even know how you get a public position, like an elected position. It's temporary. You're not going to be there for that long. There's only a couple of things and he's targeting businesses, he's targeting human beings, he's targeting education. It's like, that is not your job. Like, that's not
he's gonna have to move
your role. What are you doing?
Out of Florida.
You know what I mean? It's like, what is going on?
The thing of it is, he gets in there because we don't vote.
Yeah.
We don't get our base out.
You're right.
You know,
You're right.
So the people with the loudest voices, you know, that old saying, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Well, they do an awful lot of squawking.
That's right.
So, you know.
Good for Hamburger.
Oh, yeah. We also got to help the voters get to the voting polls. We have to make sure that they have time off work. We have to make sure that they have, like, the food that they need, because the lines can be long. Those lines are ridiculous. And also, there's some Republicans that also threaten, like, voters who are going to vote. You know, so we have to make sure that not only are people interested in voting, but that they're able to, and it's accessible for everyone.
I like that. I think your generation should really push through that election day is a national holiday.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is.
It is another
My generation tried. We didn't get there. You guys came through.
Pass on the torch. Give it the fire.
You know, I would agree with you, except I would expand it. I would say, just like most states have early voting now.
Yeah.
Just have voting week.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know, where the polls are manned, you know, Sunday to Saturday. And if they want to have early voting before that, great. But voting should be a week. And I also want to say, Paul, yes, to your point, Mary's led the way. They challenged it. It's just on hold, though, right now. The judge put it on hold because he believes it to be blatantly unconstitutional and that it will eventually be overturned. So the fight continues. But yes, Mary absolutely has led the way. Bob.
And as long as we're talking about early voting, you know, vote by mail, that I had to re-register for because this governor said take them off the, you know, I mean, I'm not going to say that joke. I was going to say I'm paler than pale. But, you know, I had to re-register to vote by mail, and, you know.
I didn't know that. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Every 2 years.
And then I don't know what state, I want to say it's the state of Oregon. They have online voting.
Well, Washington, Oregon.
Very accessible.
There's so much. You know, and now what Florida, I don't know, I know Broward does this. I can't speak to the rest of Florida, but, you know, Broward does have the ballot track system. I know they got my ballot. I know that it will get counted. I know that's a statewide thing in California, but I don't know if it's statewide in Florida.
There's a reason they don't want us to vote. There's a reason.
Oh, for sure.
100%, because, you know, us in this table, we all want to vote for LGBT rights, for people of color, for you, for everyone that we're advocating for, and they don't want that. They don't want that.
Which is strange, right? Because we all live in America, and it's not up to you whether I'm free or not. Like, I don't know where they got this from. You don't get to make me less of a human so that I no longer have constitutional rights. I have them already. I'm not asking you for them. So but these laws, why all these laws keep getting overturned? Why 90% of his bills get overturned? It's because they're unconstitutional, because you actually cannot do that to people. So them going out of their way to target us it makes it even worse. Because they know they're not going to win.
But they don't care.
They don't care.
I don't think they care.
They care that they hurt you. Right.
Yeah, because it's the people that are voting that are going to say, yeah, that's not. Yeah. It's not necessarily like that it's going to pass.
Right.
It's more like we're on the same page. I want to vote for you.
Yeah.
Dog whistles.
Yeah, dog whistles.
Now, I'd like to, before we move on to a completely another topic, did anybody here watch part of or all of the debate last night? I mean, I understand if you didn't have whiskey,
I just saw the commercial that Biden put right before or during the Republican debate, and it was kind of iconic because they were literally debating about all these things, and Biden was like, we had the best employment, we had lower unemployment, all that stuff, and I was just like, this is like iconic. It's so funny. Like Biden really did that.
You know, we debated 2 questions last night, me with the girls, and they did a much better job of it before I joined them on the stage. But we discussed who was the most dangerous, and then we also discussed who was the most ridiculous. And if you go back, and even if you just like pop in some of the highlights, go on YouTube and just find clips, you really can't take them out of context. You just can't. The stuff they said was so ridiculous. Like, if we do green energy, green electric cars, then we're helping China, so we need to use fossil fuels back here in America. I mean,
what they said.
That was Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley said that. Of course, Ron DeSantis said, he came to fight or was loaded for bear or something. Chris, and when they asked, if the nominee is convicted of a felony, will you still vote for him? And 6 of the 8, and I'm not sure if Christie raised his hand or if it was sort of, me too, but 6 of them were like, hands up right away. They were falling over themselves to vote for someone who has 91 felony charges pending against them. And tonight, was Donald Trump set to fill in. We're on at 8. I haven't been able to watch. He was supposed to surrender at 7:30. Right. Hopefully that came to pass. But I mean, it's just the cult of personality is just mind blowing.
We throw in that the felony charges are for attacking democracy.
Yeah.
So these aren't felony charges like he went drinking and driving. This is like he literally attacked democracy, everything that America stands for, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'll vote for him." Anyway,
everybody in that auditorium is totally fine.
And
it's because they're not democratic; they're fascist.
Right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
They are a democratic. They are a fascist country.
Absolutely.
But it really helps draw the contrast between what they stand for and what people who don't betray their country and become traitors stand for. It's going to be a long 15 months.
Oh yeah.
Yes, it is.
It's going to go longer. Sorry, it's going to go longer.
Well, we'll be back. We'll be back here next December. You and me.
We are Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only live daily LGBTQ+ evening news show, brought to you from Happening Out Television Network. We operate in the same model of PBS and NPR, but for the LGBTQ+ community. We educate, inform, and entertain by supporting the 10 pillars of our LGBTQ+ community, with more than 100,000 a week watching us on Roku, Apple Television, and other channels. To keep the story going, we accept donations with 100% transparency. Stay updated and live authentically with Queer News Tonight.